What's up, meta nerds? Today we're going to talk about the CIS Tactical Droid. We're going to learn about the limits of their intelligence, touch on the Super Tactical Droid that we see in Rebels, and even how their design came from the original trilogy. These guys were one of the most important elements to the Separatist army. They're about the same size as the B-2 Super Battle Droid, but didn't have any flashy weapons or combat abilities. Instead, their specialty was their intelligence. Their bulky frame housed advanced hardware and combat analysis software. These combined to make these droids more intelligent than your regular battle droids, and so intelligent in fact that the Separatist army was comfortable using these guys in place of organic leadership. They were a walking, talking supercomputer that was able to process all of the data of the battlefield and make thousands of predictions about what might happen next. Their superior intellect made them condescending and arrogant towards their fellow battle droids, and often showed no reservations about sacrificing hundreds of battle droids just to make their mission successful. We get to see an example of this in the Clone Wars TV show during the Sky Battle of Quell. I think it's very important to point out that not all tactical droids were the same. We see that a lot of them have different paint jobs and little details, but it's unclear if these symbolize different ranks or anything like that. What I'm talking about is the fact that they all have different personalities, which makes me wonder if this is the result of just differences in their programming, or if their programming is so complicated that we should consider these tactical droids to be sentient beings. Whatever their level of intelligence or autonomy might be, we do consistently see examples of just how cold they can be. During the Battle of Ryloth, a tactical droid by the name of TX-20 was in charge of an important proton cannon. Wat Tambor wanted to be sure that the droid had put this in a good location. TX-20 told him that basically after running a simulation, this spot had the best chance of success. And to show that he really had considered all the options, he protected the proton cannons from Jedi attacks by surrounding it with a living shield, by basically having a bunch of prisoners sit around the thing, knowing Jedi won't attack this installation if it means taking innocent lives. Another incident involving Wat Tambor and a T-Series droid was when the unit TA-175 abandoned him on Ryloth. Tambor wanted to wait around for some spoils of war to be delivered to him, but the T-Series droid calculated that this would be a good way to get rid of Wat Tambor, and prove to Count Dooku that he was going to follow his orders over anyone else. Think about the capabilities that this T-Series droid is showing. He's plotting, conniving, and had the initiative to actually steal Wat Tambor's ship, and then lie to Count Dooku. Like I mentioned earlier, these droids can be extremely cruel. We see an example of this when Eeth Koth was captured by General Grievous. This guy's name is TV-98, and it was his job, along with a couple of other commando droids, who served as the last line of defense against the Jedi attempting to rescue Eeth Koth. When AUDIBLE and Anakin Skywalker entered the room, the commando guards took up position, and TV-98 here demonstrates how he's able to electrocute Eeth Koth, and gives a warning that with the press of a button he could end Eeth Koth's life. And although their biggest trait is their monotone voice and their extreme capacity to calculate, it seems like this droid reaction is actually pleasure. TV-98 either enjoys that he has beaten the Jedi, or he just gets intrinsic pleasure from the act of torture. Either way, we're seeing a much greater range of emotion and intellect than your average B1, Roger, Roger. Now that doesn't mean that these guys couldn't be pretty dense sometimes. A model by the name of TX-21 served Archduke Poggle the Lesser on Geonosis at the time of the Second Battle of Geonosis. The pair were excited to debut the Super Tank, with hopes that it would protect the new droid foundry from the approaching Republic army. We see how the arrogance of TX-21 becomes his downfall. When Barriss Offee and Ahsoka Tano try to attack him, the tactical droid confidently marches out alongside the super tank, confident that it will destroy Barriss Offee and Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka throws an explosive which attaches itself to the tank, causing TX-21 here to laugh it off, stating that the tank could not be damaged by such a puny little device. Analytically, he was correct. No damage was done to the tank, but he was blown into little pieces. And not that it's a lack of intelligence, but it's interesting to see how the super tactical droid by the name of Kalani both doesn't have a name which is simply a combination of letters and numbers, perhaps hinting at a stronger sense of self, but he also was so focused on finishing the Clone Wars his way, that he wants to carry out another simulation just to prove how intelligent he is. So we've seen how the Separatist army definitely considers them to be the most intelligent droids they created, and giving them the right to command their other droids. We see how they act as counsel and tacticians to other organics, and we also see their personality quirks, how cold and calculating they can be using living shields, leaving their commanders to die and then lying to Count Dooku, to torturing Jedis and kind of getting a kick out of it. And on the other end we see how hubris and obsession can also be factors in the T-Series tactical droid's mind. All these things combined, I think it's a pretty good case for the T-Series droid to be one of the most intelligent, mass-produced droids in the Star Wars universe, both in canon and in Legends material. You may be able to find individual droids who are more intelligent, but remember that this droid was built this way on purpose, and mass-produced, not to the extent of the B1s of course, but we see them popping up all over the place. One more interesting fact before we go out: did you know that the T-Series droid's design comes from an early concept art from the original trilogy? He probably would have been a background droid that you saw at a spaceport. So this guy's been an idea at least for a lot longer than we thought. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to let me know in your comments below what you thought about the T-Series droid, and which droid do you think is the most intelligent in all of Star Wars. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe for even more Star Wars content. And remember, may the Force be with you, always.